Okay, so I'll be doing a reaction to this video that I uploaded a few days ago. This exact video. It's on the channel, so go check that out after or before this, whichever one you want to do first. So let's get into it.
Just knocking doors here and realised that there's... Yep. So
Just to explain, he's seeing spiders and on the sky, in the sky, and he's explaining this to some guy on the phone, and I guess the guy is just in disbelief. So you hear that in the call as it goes.
So when I'm telling you there's like 50 spiders in the sky now just hanging around, like waiting to drop in my face, you don't believe me, is that what you're saying? It sounds far-fetched. Just for the people who are on my Snapchat, I just want them to know that I'm on the phone to an Australian telling them why is there 7,000 spiders above my head ready to jump down and eat me. And he says it sounds far-fetched. Excuse me, guys. Have you ever seen spiders flying in the sky?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
You're used to that, yeah?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah. I'm catching a flight.
So I don't know what to make of that, but the interesting thing is that he's not the only one who sees this shit. He at least has one other person who can affirm that, they have seen this before and they're seeing it currently. It could be staged, but at the same time, it's kind of weird, and a lot of weird shit has been happening in order to say that it is just staged and dismiss it just like that would be kind of idiotic, but it just, I don't know. Although I'm not claiming it's true, no, that it is not. So,
Okay, so here I am out here in September, and as you can see, there's obviously a really very clear planet that is right north of the sun. And wow, I would love to say it was the moon, but since the moon happens to be right here on the opposite side, there's no way it is. And since we all have been taught in school that Mercury and Venus do not show up, oh, just look at that planet just beaming and shining right now. Somebody tell me what it is. Thank you.
now here, like how she just wants to believe that it's a planet, but to I don't know, to be fair to her, I guess, given her knowledge of things and what she believes things are, what else is she gonna say at this point? But I don't know. I don't think it is a planet, and for it to be a sun in the heliocentric world would be even more of a misstep, and even more of a very catastrophic thing. But in any case, I don't know. That cannot be a planet because wherever that planet is, which is not in our solar system, its light source, right? Meaning its star in this heliocentric world would have to be so freaking bright. I don't know. And then just to be able to, from whichever origin it is at, reflect into our system, it's you're better off just saying that maybe is some extraterrestrial ship from other worlds recharging from our local sun. That's the best thing you could say. Other than that, I don't know. I think any other statement would be quite retarded. It cannot be a planet, more especially if it's not a planet in our solar system, in the heliocentric world. So,
Yo, I've never seen nothing like that. Yo, I thought I was bugging. When I was standing over there, I'm like, what is that? Why is the sky purple? And it's only there. Look, this one's not that far.
So he said he thought he was bugging. I don't know what it is with people with this whole, just need to be affirmed in something. You want to be confirmed or affirmed that you're not crazy or seeing a particular thing. I don't know, but in any case, this one is an interesting one, and normally people would like to no, like claim that that particular thing has to be a result of some pole um, either about to explode or something similar to that, a pole of electricity or a transformer or some shit like that, and they want to give it to I don't know, give it associate it to that type of thing and say that's the main cause to which why this is happening, but the truth of it, I don't know. I think it's quite idiotic. For it to shine that bright, first of all, it has to be way closer, very closer to them, which it seems like it is. But um, the problem about that is how wide it spreads from edge to edge, right? Um, and you cannot say that's fake. That someone is just faking something because you could see the person filming it on his phone. It's clearly there, um, and I don't know. It's quite interesting. And another thing is that could be again something that number one you can talk about extraterrestrial ships from other places um, beyond, let's say, the South Pole or the Antarctic Circle. Looking at the theory that those places could exist, um, but at the same time, we should also not be in denial of the fact that there's quite a high possibility that our own governments have technology that they are not telling us about. And in any case, when you compare how the sky works and you look at the clouds, over a great distance, the clouds seem to go down and meet at a certain point at eye level. So if that particular orb of light or the stream of light is just very high up in the sky, some form of technological, I don't know what, and it's very far away, it would seem like it's at eye level, which again would make sense looking at the fact that, um, looking at the width of the light going from side to side, it would make sense that it's much more farther away than those people are, like really farther away. And it looks like it's very close because it's lower in the sky. And, that. So I don't know. It's quite interesting. The brightness issue there as well. But I don't know. Comments. Tell me what you think about it.
Oh, no, you're right. You're right. Look at that. You scared me. You definitely scared me. Check it out. Look. Dude.
What the?
What?
Like, what the? Is they here? What the heck is going on? What the fuck?
So again, on this one, it looks like they're scanning the ground or scanning the place. And again, people have to always remember that the current technology that we think we have is just the technology that we think we have as people. But is it though? Is it? Does it translate to reality? You don't know. We could have way more advanced tech. I believe we do, um, for a fact. But I don't know. So the easiest thing for people when things like this happen is to immediately believe that this is some out of this world type of technology that we have no access to. There's just no way. So, um, as you heard, he said that are they here? And normally I would just assume that he's talking about extraterrestrials. Are they here? You know? So it's just the whole the just not ever considering that it could be our own tech that's doing that, our own people up there that's doing that. They never ever it never comes to mind. It is always this out of this world idea.
No kurwa. No i popatrz na tych debili, nie? Smog napierdala kurwa z każdej strony, a te śmiecie kurwa statkami napierdalają. Flagi wywieszają, no. Kurwa nie mają co pieniędzy napierdalać. Jebane buraki, kurwa.
Now this video I've selected and like it was just a tribute to Star Wars and the possibility of us rather having this technology. It's not unfeasible. Totally. Another thing that kind of always bugged me with this sci-fi movies is the inspiration behind the movies, the inspiration behind the designs of the spacecrafts, the overall look of the, should I say, aliens or the different types of aliens. You know, looking at Star Wars and you see a whole lot of different types of aliens in there, or rather, just I don't know, how should I put this? Weird looking, creatures of obviously different worlds, right? So it's kind of I don't know how to put it, but where do you get that particular type of idea that this kind of thing could exist and it could exist in this type of way? They could look this type of way. I know, and I'm not trying to shun people's creativity, but certain things you have to have some sort of reference point and say, okay, and more than just looking at a lizard and saying, okay, if it was a lizard and I took a lizard and mixed or crossbred that lizard with a human being, how would it look? It's I just think when it comes to detail, it's not far-fetched that they just took the lizard and looked at the lizard and thought about a lizard being, a lizard humanoid. It's not far-fetched at all. But at the same time, it's also not far-fetched that they had some sort of reference point that's not the lizards. So it only comes to technology as well. The flying crafts and the specific technology behind it. There has to be a reference point to some degree, especially those ones that flew by. They do not have thrusters. So what exact type of technology currently and in history so far, except the ones that they hide, electrostatic energy, electrostatic displacement to result in flying cars, flying anything, as long as you manipulate the electrostatic displacement of a particular object. Now, those things are possible. And now you ask me again, when it comes to those flying crafts that just flew by, they don't have thrusts or thrusters or, combustion, or so it seems, which means they should be manipulating some sort of force. It would only make sense that they're manipulating the electrostatic force. So.
It's a project that's here for many, many years. Men in Black are agents that were trained to mainly be assassins, okay? And I'm not talking CIA. I'm talking about a group that you never see or hear about. It's an agency within an agency within an agency that maybe the president knows about. You understand? They do exist. 20 years ago, the movie came out and MIB was dissolved. But it wasn't dissolved. They just changed the name.
Do you have a new name?
Yes. They call it FAC. Fixers, Assassins, and Cleaners. fix, assassinate when necessary, and you clean your surroundings when you're done.
Wow.
Yeah. You're going to hear about it, probably in 20 years. They'll make a movie about FAC.
Wow.
Yeah,
Never heard that one before.
I know. Very few know about them.
Now, this one I don't have too much of a comment on. It's interesting. So I guess, like you said, watch out for the movie FAC. Interesting stuff. Can you dispute it? Is it false? Is it true? Again, you don't know what you don't know.
Of what the CIA and the Defense Department have been doing for a long time as far as using us as guinea pigs for mind control and other types of horrible things they have in mind for us and the rest of the people in the world. What are some of them?
Well, it started out basically with the CIA doing experimentations on their own men to discover if they could get rid of agents who were going to quit the department and still had classified information. So they utilized different types of drugs and pain and hypnosis and electric shock to try and get the guys to forget. Then they also did experimentations to using different chemicals to see if you can induce a person to commit a crime or induce him to do that or to do this. Of course, the CIA claimed that it didn't carry it through. The documentation we got was actually that they did that. Then we came across the overall project called MK Ultra. Its earlier code name was Artichoke, and that included 149 sub-projects. Those, 149. Yeah. And those sub-projects range from what I just described to open-air testing in the United States, the experimentation on prisoners, experimentation on soldiers, experimentation on college students.
Would these people know they were being experimented on and gave their approval?
No, except for the quote-unquote voluntary Army soldiers.
Oh, yeah.
And the way the voluntary Army program worked is it started in 1959, and the guys were just told that they would be doing experimentation on new weapons, right? And then they get to Fort Detrick, Maryland, where the experimentation was done, and find out that they were going to be doing it on drugs and chemicals. But they were never told what they would be experimented on. You know, they just knew that they went crazy for a couple of days or so forth and so on, and then years later have similar things to the guys who have had Agent Orange, because there's one chemical that was used called BZ, and it's 100 times stronger than LSD. It's a very gross drug that causes a person to totally go out of his head for at least 12 hours, sometimes up to 2 to 3 weeks, where he doesn't even know where he is or who he is.
Are there residual effects to BZ?
Yes. Now, the Army at first said that they'd done testing to this.
Now, when it comes to that video, I didn't cut it short. I just don't have the phone to be. But I don't have much of a comment on this one. Do your own research, MK Ultra. It's pretty much out there. You know, I think one thing you should do for yourself is, you know, before you conclude on anything, just do your own research, right? Do not be easily just don't be easily dismissive, number one, and easily convinced. Anything that you see here that you feel like maybe you need to do more research, go do it. And certain things that you see here, maybe you already know. So
I want to speak more about an operation that you've told me about in the past. I think it happened a few years ago, before you and I were doing any of this, and before you and I, had our interaction and all that. Regarding TLS and work that they've done that you were a part of that is questionable on the surface, that I'd like to bring to awareness and just see your response. You're the first person to know, because you've also shared it on camera multiple times, that organizations like the CIA and the KGB and the Mossad and all those organizations are extremely corrupt.
Okay.
I know you said NASA is extremely corrupt. I think we all know that as well.
Correct.
At the same time, there was an operation that I know that you say TLS worked in conjunction, not with, but in conjunction with the Mossad to get something done. How is it that if these organizations are so evil, TLS would work in conjunction with them on certain operations?
If the agenda fits the needs of TLS, why not?
So what happened in that case with the Mossad that they chose to work in conjunction with them?
There was a problem that they couldn't fix on their own, and they asked for help, so we came to help.
Are there any details you can give about that problem?
Details? Be more specific. What do you mean by details?
I know it has to do with plutonium being confiscated. Can you speak more about that?
It was more of a smaller nuclear device.
That was being taken away out of somebody's hands.
No, it was hidden in a structure. They couldn't find it.
When you say they, you're speaking about the Mossad.
Yes.
So does the Mossad know TLS exists? Did they call TLS?
Of course.
Do they know that TLS exists?
Of course.
What do they know about TLS?
Well, everybody knows now.
But again, you're saying that the Mossad are the evildoers. So in what world would the evildoers, the people that TLS is trying to take out and down, call TLS and say, hey guys, we need your help?
No, the Mossad is not the evildoers. The Mossad is a corrupt organization, such as the CIA. They do corrupt things for the government who employs them. It's different. Most of those guys are very, very good guys. Very brilliant. Strong guys. With a lot of life experiences.
Again, when it comes to this one, I don't really have any comments. I think it is what it is. You just look at it, think about it. I think this guy's particular program, the disclosure, it's quite interesting. Whether or not his guest is telling the truth, I cannot disprove. I don't know. He has a lot of interesting things that he adds to the show or brings to the show. The show itself is just very interesting. I don't want to lie. So do your own research here again, I'll say.
Moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
When you said that just now, did it sound stupid to you?
Kind of.
Are dangerous things. Now that's a Predator drone. It was taken at a secretive United States Air Force base in New Mexico. Predator drones you've seen, right? You've seen them on TV, you've seen them in the newspapers. They're old. They're 20 years old, the technology. It looks very scary when the Spiegel and the ARD write modern technology and the guys in the joystick and killing people and Taliban in Afghanistan far away. But that's what a modern drone looks like. This is not a Predator, this is a Pegasus. It's an X-47B. It's owned by the Navy. It's a jet-powered machine, not like a propeller-driven Predator. It goes 2,000 miles into enemy territory. It carries 2,000 kilos worth of explosives. And it's run by artificial intelligence. It starts alone, flies its mission alone, comes back alone, and here's the clue, it lands all by itself on an aircraft carrier. Talk to any pilot you've ever met. What's the most difficult landing area you can possibly imagine? They say it's an aircraft carrier. Short runway, things moving, very hard. This thinking drone can do it. But here are the two keys to Pegasus. Pegasus is invisible. Now, I'm not talking about stealth and being invisible to radar. I'm talking about invisible to the human eye. And you won't find this in any newspaper anywhere. It's invisible to the human eye because the bottom has an LED layer on it, and the top has cameras, which have been removed here in the picture, which film the sky, and they project on the bottom a live picture of the clouds up above the aircraft, and you can hardly see it. And they're responsible for a lot of these UFO sightings in Nevada near the testing areas.
No, the guy here said he would go to the moon in a nanosecond. That's the initial part. But they destroyed the technology now. So I think it's quite retarded. It's a very retarded, I don't know, thing. If you still believe that the moon landing is real. And again, you just need help. And you need to do your research properly. When it comes to the drone video, this one that's currently showing, man, again, when you look at the SR-72, the Blackbird, right? You look at that craft and you just imagine how old it is. If you just want to date that craft with your own freaking eyes, you would say, that it's just a fairly recent craft, maybe 10 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. It depends on your own way of thinking. Personally, I would say maybe they made it 10 years ago from just looking at it. And I'm saying that because that's practically what I thought before I did my own research. Only to find out that the original modeling of the thing, I believe, was in 1960. So before the moon landings. That's quite retarded. If you know anything about the Blackbird and you know its top speed and how fast it can travel, you have to understand if they were able to create that back then, what the hell do you think they've created now that you don't know about? Yeah, you have to ask yourself that shit. In the video again, you saw where he talked about a self-piloting drone, an AI-driven drone, or whatever you want to call it. No controller. You know, in the usual movies that we see on TV or in the cinemas, you have a soldier at some base. You are controlling the drone on a controller of some sort. Yeah, let's just say a controller of some sort. That one is self-piloted. So you kind of have to be truthful, to yourself and be able to identify where you can see that there's way more tech that they are withholding. They claim to be way more disadvanced, unadvanced than they actually are. That's what I believe. You look at is it MIT with the silent drone that has no moving parts but can fly? Again, getting into the electrostatic displacement of a particular object. Go look into it.
We did secure some footage of the flying disc in the hangar. The code name for the project is Equipe, and it has been designed for humans to fly. We asked the scientist in charge of the project what propulsion system the craft uses, but he would not divulge what he called classified information. What is clear is that Taryelka is aimed at the commercial market, not the military. The Russian engineers here at Saratov see this as an alternative to aeroplane transport in the 21st century.
And with this one, I would say, go look at Operation Paperclip. Go look for, just do your own research. Operation Paperclip, do your own research. And it's funny how he described it as a flying disc. But to me, that looks like something, if you were to look at on a screen, in a fighter jet that's high up and it's very lower in the sky and far away, what do you think it would look like to you on the screen? Be honest. What is it that the Pentagon released not so long ago, and confirmed is true? An unidentified flying object that looked like a Tic Tac. What the fuck do you think that thing would look like from a distance? A freaking Tic Tac. And it's been there for how long now? Look at it. Again, no thrusters as it may seem there. What are they using to fly? The same Tic Tac that was seen by the fighter pilots did not have any form of identifiable propulsion device that it was using to fly. So again, and they wanted to replace aircrafts, commercial aircrafts with those Tic Tacs. So not only would those Tic Tacs have to be more efficient, they would more than likely have to be faster. And if we're looking at the fighter pilot footage, we're looking at the speed, and you have heard of the speed of the Tic Tac that flew by the fighter pilot. Again, if it's flying that fast, then it is way more efficient, or would be way more efficient, considering also that it's not burning fuel. It's not using the type of propulsion system that burns fuel. It would be way more efficient and way more, let's just say, cost effective and efficient, and less time consuming. More people per day transported. That's what I'm saying. You spend less time behind the wheel on the air. It's very quick. So again, it's interesting. Now it's a very old craft. They had that craft that long ago. We had that craft that long ago. We, not some unidentified alien life force. We. Imagine what we have now. Like, imagine that shit. Imagine what we have now.
It's just fucking airplanes, man. It's condensation. It's totally natural. Heat, cold air makes these trails, bro. You're by an airport. And contrails and chemtrails are different. Contrails dissipate within 30 seconds. That's normal. But chemtrails, when there's metallic particles in them, they stay over your head in the sky all day and spread out and completely cover a perfectly clear day. And here's a video from 2 years ago of John Brennan, the director of the CIA, at the CFR, the Council on Foreign, in front of the Illuminati. Now they're saying we're gonna save the world from global warming. Check this out.
Another example is the array of technologies, often referred to collectively as geoengineering, that potentially could help reverse the warming effects of global climate change. One that has gained my personal attention is stratospheric aerosol injection, a method of seeding the stratosphere with particles that can help reflect the sun's heat